You start messing with vacations, man, we got a whole different type of problem.
Seriously.
That's therapy. I can't get it, you know?
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
you.
We
What's
have
up,
to
dude? What's happening?
Cool, man. How you doing?
Oh, man. Maintaining in this, brother.
Yeah.
Maintaining.
What I wanted to do is I wanted to do a show on the Last Dance.
Mm-hmm.
The Jordan documentary seemed to be a hot topic. Him not letting people eat the whole 9 yards, which is
Yeah.
which is seems crazy, but at the it's a lot of things uh, going on with that. Let me go here and hold on. Let me set up the stream thing.
Is this just us three today?
I think yeah. Doug may join,
Mm-hmm.
and I sent out some invites. Let me go here. Okay.
Dre, how you making out in the school thing, man?
Yeah, you guys are teachers.
It's a pain, because it's not teaching. It's like trying
Yeah.
to Google
Can't,
Meet.
hey, you can't say that to them, man.
No, you can't. You can't. But I know I miss there's a vibe that goes on in the classroom.
Oh, without a doubt.
There's a give and take. Like I'm at my best when I get like the feedback and
Yeah.
I play off of them, their curiosity, whatever. Like, I mean, the best class I have is when somebody produces a problem. They take something we're learning and introduce a new problem, then we vibe off of that.
Yeah.
But like, it's so sterile when you're doing the screen thing. The kids, they're just like, I think most of them, we do a Google. What I do is I do a Google Meet session on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
For each class. I have 3 classes. So I'll do it's like usually be like a half an hour for each class. And I get about 80%, on there or whatever, but they ain't doing nothing. They just sitting there and they just listening to me. And you get 1 or 2 people will ask a question. It's so sterile, no feedback, no nothing.
I can't even get them. I can't even get them on the meeting. That's how bad it is. Like, I've had one of my classes. I've had 2 students tune in. They called me and said that they can't get no work out of the boy. He's just refusing to do his work. And then I had the mother and father ask me, do I have any suggestions for their son to make him work? So I'm sitting there like what? Like, hold on a second.
It's exposing some of the gaps at home.
Yeah,
right?
Man.
Like,
Very.
it's like, I've had a similar situation where, like, I report to the parents, like, whoever hasn't turned in work for the week, because that's how to track in attendance. And so when I just I just do my due diligence, so nobody can say I didn't do my part. Like, nobody didn't know. So I send out my email, and it's usually and I just do a quick form letter. Like, it ain't like a retype Now Jones. I just copy and paste, and it's usually about the same 10 kids or so. And it's like, the one lady is just like, he said he's turning it in, and I don't know what the problem is. And then
there they go.
And then another one is like, can you call him? Like, here's his number. I was like, what? Like,
can you call him, huh?
Yeah, to tell him to do his work, because she's basically at her wit's end. They're done, and it's a lot on parents. It's a lot on parents. And if if the structure already wasn't sort of in place about how we do schoolwork and how serious schoolwork is in here, this is the tough time to learn that your kid is you getting a glimpse of what we deal with your kid
all the time.
Trying to pull them along. There's a certain amount of kids you got to pull along. They get stuff out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now the parents are seeing, like, darn, I didn't realize it was this hard. Yeah,
it's like crazy. Hold on,
professional babysitters we are, man.
Yeah, it's like insane.
What are y'all doing with this end of y'all school year?
What are you talking about? Us, like, I know from the technology, like kids bringing back devices. I'm like, okay,
But like, how about ending the school year early or anything like that?
We talked. I just found out they want to do a virtual graduation where they want to bring in the seniors, like 70 at a time, film them walking across the stage, saying their name, then tape all the 8 speakers at the graduation, give it to Jostens, let them put it together, produce it, and then stream it on the graduation day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, all right.
Yeah, there's been some talk about, are we still going to June 16th or 17th or whatever, or because we've heard that a couple districts in our area, like Upper Moreland, they're cutting the cord at May 29th or something like that. Like, I guess that last day in May or something.
Yeah, we're done. I know they were talking about doing things for the kids, period. Like parade, cars and things like that, especially like I'm guessing more for seniors and stuff. Just trying to, cause it's a tough time for seniors, man.
Yeah.
Any of the sports this time of year, tough for them,
That's hard.
It's tough. So they talking about doing some type of celebration, riding around cars through the town, parading, So just tough.
They did that for the 8th graders in my school district, and in my town, in Norristown, they did something like last week for seniors, for kids. That's funny. We would be at IUP this weekend for the graduation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For your daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what are they doing?
They moved it back. So, right now it's September 12th. Wow. They sent out a survey. They said, do you want to do it in the fall or do you want to do it in December with the other graduation? And I was like, well, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm like, I would hope you got your life going on by December. You ain't gonna have time to pause for no graduation. So I'm like, let's get this done.
Extracurricular graduation activities, huh?
Yeah, let's get this thing knocked out in September. So they said September, so it's like a cross your fingers thing. Right now it's September, so we'll see.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play the theme music, then stream the go live, and then we're gonna cut over. I'm gonna turn down the music and introduce everybody. So I'm gonna just let me see this. Let me find this is different. Facebook changed their whole thing. They won't let you use the older version anymore. I've been always. Always going back to the older version.
Right.
But I'm like, let me see.
Something.
Let me see. Let's go intro. Let's go live. All right, let's go live. Sports Talk Live for the culture. How's it going, fellas?
Going good, man. Going good.
How you doing
Hey,
today, Dre?
hey, doing good, man. You know, maintaining.
That's all we can do in these quarantine times. I'm back. I was down for a minute, but I got up off the mat.
Yeah, it's good to
Also,
see you back.
Yeah.
no 10-second knockdown rule.
Nah, it's going to take a lot more to get me out of this place. But
Absolutely.
definitely. So how you guys? You guys, two teachers out here in the quarantine times. How you maintaining with your students out there in these tough educational situations that you guys are in?
Oh, well, hey, man, listen. Do you know how to juggle? Hey, if you don't, then we know how hard juggling could be, right?
Yeah.
But if you do know how to juggle, how about we throw a fourth ball in for you?
Definitely, and that's what everybody's trying to do. Kids are antsy. I guess it's a bit tough to keep their attention during these times, but you got to do the best you can do.
Yeah, we're partnering with our parents,
Yeah.
and like doing like a co-teaching thing
Yeah.
going on. And the one nice thing our district did, we did a little for Teacher Appreciation Week. We did a little nice something like a little video for the parents. So that was a nice little switcheroo. But everybody's doing the best they can. I do empathize with parents that's trying to do the work from home, the homeschooling. So I just try to be there as a support. It's not, my problems are kind of, my hang-ups about this whole scenario is kind of minor, considering all that, like parents are trying to deal with, and not to mention the teachers who have kids themselves that are at school age.
Double duty. Right?
So
Double, triple time.
Yes, I empathize with all that. My situation is a little different,
Yeah, when you have adult kids or something like that, it's a little bit like just trying to maintain and handle. But yeah, we're moving forward. What I wanted to do today, and this is the hot topic, and I posted up here on here, is the 10-part documentary that has everybody talking, The Last Dance, which chronicles the second Chicago Bulls three-peat, also the career of Michael Jordan and the Bulls organization, going back from Michael's start in the league until the final season where they do their second three-peat and the Bulls are dismantled. When this thing first started, Michael Jordan said it may make him look in a bad light on certain things about how he conducts himself along those lines as being a leader. Before I get into this specific situation, what's been your impression overall of the documentary, Dre?
Overall, I think it is very well done.
Yeah.
I do like the production of it from a timeline standpoint.
Yeah.
I like the way the go from present day to 97
yeah.
to then look back to college. It's a uneven. I'm sure there's a sort of a technique to that, but I just, the best way I can explain it, the timeline of just going the back and forth with the timeline. I think from a production standpoint, it has been excellent and very well done.
For me, man, it's big time, and being that I have a film background also, so the way that they kind of put things in sequence, but they didn't necessarily have to be in sequence order. They did bounce around. I thought that was creative. But not only that, the biggest thing for me is the people that were involved, from administration, the organization, coach, the major players, the athletes on the court. It just let people know that, listen, you can think it's just about the players all you want. It's just not about the players.
Yeah.
You can think it's about the coach all you want. It's not about the coach. You can think about the organization all you want. It's just not about the organization. Collectively, everybody has to do this in some way, shape, or form. And if you look throughout the history, in terms of winning, you'll find that somebody along the road, they did particularly not like each other.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow somebody has to keep the glue together to reach the common goal. So I think it let us know, it shed light on professional team sports. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's big, man. You have so many dollars involved. You have major players. I mean, you saw Stern pop up. You saw Silverman pop up. These
Mm-hmm.
guys, they popped up. You know, you were able to see. Forget about the United States. You were able to see how worldly,
Mm-hmm.
like, sports is, man. And we're talking about. We don't have to get into so much about, and I'm sure we will later, about MJ himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's just it's a thing. It doesn't matter the sport, man. Nobody can do anything by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
And to
People might think that they can, but they can't. There's no way you can do it by yourself.
and to your point, there's so many things that could derail a path to a championship.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're almost lucky to get to the finish line and you get to win that last game.
I agree.
But there are so many things, and you talk about a NBA season that lasts, 8-9 months, 82 games. It's so many things along the way that could knock you off your path. Even a team that was the odds-on favorite to win it all. You start off the season with saying, hey, the coach is not coming back.
Yeah.
The coach is not coming back. All right, so that's boom right there. Then you got the Scotty, contract situation, which, like they don't, if he decides to do I'm sitting out the whole year type thing, there is no 6 championship as far as So you got all that little that drama and and then Dennis Rodman, that speaks for itself. so all of that, what you see, what you're reminded of is that team that's holding up the trophy at the end of the year. It wasn't all cookies and cream throughout. There was your internal drama. There was the beef. There were injuries. There was so it's truly a remarkable feat to win a championship, and it's not always just about being the best team.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that when they started early, they looked at when Jordan came into the league, and Jordan had commented on the status of the Bulls. Now, we always debate who's the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time. I always lean toward Jordan and MJ because of the things that we talk about, coming into an organization that had never been anything, Chicago, leading that organization to multiple championships, and being an extension basically of management and having to be the driving force, for that organization, and made the Chicago Bulls something, and that's a great feat, because you got to carry that weight and carry that load. When you're losing games, whatever, they're not going to B.J. Armstrong and asking B.J. Armstrong what's wrong with the Bulls. They're asking Michael Jordan what's wrong with the Bulls. So to be able to carry that, lead that, and it pretty seemed like he led with an iron fist once he got in, and once
iron like no other.
once he had supplanted himself, in that situation, him coming out of North Carolina as a junior, going early. One of the interesting things that I found was that how things fall in place was the sneaker issue, which he wanted to be an Adidas guy. Converse was like, look, man, we ain't we ain't got time. We got everybody else. We don't really need you. And then Nike, the upstart, and I remember that was the only pair of Jordans I had. I had those Jordans. I bought them from a boutique on South Street. That was the only Jordans I ever had. And Nike said, look, all right, we'll take a run on you. We're going to do your own shoe, Air Jordan. That whole thing kind of came together, Dre, as you talk about. They had this new Air thing they wanted to promote. Mike, soared in the air. He was a high flyer. And, they put it together and said, hey, let's do it. And lo and behold, they were looking to do $3 million in sales, and they did $126 million in sales. I mean, that's a story on unto itself. Also about the marketing of Jordan and his ability as a brand to just leach out and go, beyond everything. But one of the things that you start when he was a rookie, he came in and said, "Look, this team isn't really about winning." These guys that a lot of people have posted that he was doing some dry snitching on, as they referred to as the traveling cocaine circus, uh, what the Chicago Bulls were. But I think he was asked the question, he answered it honestly.
That was the '80s.
I mean, yeah, it was the '80s. I mean, let's keep it 100 to being a lot of coke in the '80s. I mean,
you didn't have to throw the guys under the bus.
Yeah, you felt he threw him under the bus. He said, yeah, he could have been more discreet about it. Yeah, there's probably some things going on.
I mean, and then to throw the guys under the bus and then totally kind of remove yourself away from the situation.
Yeah.
I think if I don't know. I think if you weren't a part of it,
yeah,
then I think you just leave it alone.
Oh, yeah.
But if you wanted to be a totally revealing documentary and you were involved, then maybe you can speak on it.
Yeah.
But I think to just kind of throw people under the bus and just kind of be like,
yeah, everybody's starting to look, who's on that Bulls team? Like everybody goes looking up the roster.
I was like Orlando
Woolwich.
Were you league now? Like that was the first thing that popped in my head.
There's only 12 guys. Like I know who they are, so he must sniff.
Yeah. That was a bit startling, but it was entertaining. Like some guys might have some questions they have to answer to like their kids or something like that.
Yeah.
but just from a pure entertainment standpoint, it was funny to me.
Yeah, because I thought when he said that, I was like, but I thought he was answering the question. He could have been like, yeah, it was a lot of things going on in there when we got to the team, a lot of things that weren't, how he answered, a lot of things that weren't conducive to winning a championship. And I was a rookie, and I just tried to stay my part. I really didn't, get involved in it. Yeah, but I guess he was trying, and I think throughout the documentary, I think Jordan reflected back on when he came to the Bulls and the situation they were, how other players on the team now, since they won championships, didn't come to the situation that he came to. So that's why he was like the person that he was in practice on these guys saying, look, you got to earn it because we're a championship team now. You didn't come to the traveling cocaine circus that we had to flip over and get rid of these guys around. And that was kind of seemed like the fuel in him. He was ultra competitive guy. Definitely. You can see the competitiveness in him throughout the documentary. And one of the things that was interesting about the documentary too is that you guys can talk on this. It really meant something to them. Like these guys are millionaires or whatever. I just go back to the one when they talk about Bill Cartwright, how he broke down when Scottie Pippen didn't want to go back in the game, whatever. And he said, this team has come so far, and how can you quit on us like this? And it just speaks to how competitive you have to be to get to that level. And how it really, we think these guys got millions, they got money, they got generational wealth, a lot of them if they take care of it. But man, it still means something to them in the rivalry piece. You guys talk a little bit about that. Did you find that how much it meant to them? I mean, we're talking about championship team too, but it was really, really, really intense.
You're talking about this actual documentary, right?
Yeah, with the rivalries. We can get to the Isaiah thing, but how much the winning meant to them and how intense they were. And, the whole thing about Cartwright breaking down in the locker room after that game and, like, yo, what's going on?
Well, I think that as you saw in the documentary, something was missing from the Bulls, right? We can say that, all right? Then MJ comes and he goes through his early progression. And he said himself, look, I'm not going to be talking trash too much because I'm a rookie. I'm a first-year player. So the best way for me to do that is to bust my butt every day and to put together some of these great games. So I think once that happened, they were like, listen, this young kid right here, nobody can stop him. He's playing hard, he's practicing hard, and he's holding himself accountable. And that type of behavior is infectious. I don't care what level you're playing on. Guys tend to look to
The best
their superstars for them to get picked up. And he ultimately was the alpha male. Follow me. I need you to bring it 100% because I am, and I'm going to take us to places. Just do what you're supposed to do. I just need your effort. So, once I think everybody figured that out right there, it was just like, look at this guy. I mean, they were watching a show within a show with Michael Jordan, right? Because, you heard Steve Kerr say it best, like, we knew what was going to happen once the game got in certain situations. So to me, that's like, okay, well, let me get the ball over here and let me just stay over this way. And I know this guy is about to operate. And how many times did he come through?
Yeah.
So once you have a guy like that who's able to impose his will on people every night, and by statistics, what happens more so, in terms of winning, you're going to tend to, be able to lean on that. And I think that's what happened and with that team, So, and I tell people all the time, particularly young kids, because we're in an era now where I don't think winning is like it was for us when we were growing up. Like winning was everything. Winning might be like third or fourth on the kids today's totem pole. Well, it's infectious, right?
But I think they may want to win, but what are you willing to sacrifice to win? Yeah.
But in terms of the Bulls, you talk about it, the winning being infectious. If the coach is ready, the players are ready, the organization is ready, the whole town, what are the stadiums filled? What are they, 20,000 now? So you won't have a problem with selling out because guess what? Everybody's coming to the show now, So it spreads into the city, it spreads around the country, and it spreads around the world. And that's what the identity the Bulls took on, That's why I think it was so special to them.
And I think what we're talking about here is a culture. And you talk about it meant so much to them. It was because they had established a culture. And it took time, from the time Jordan got in and then, trying to get to the mountaintop and then get knocked down. You start to develop an identity, you start to develop a culture, and you start to figure out, what it takes to ultimately get over the hump. And then when you get close and then don't make it, and you think back everything you poured into it, all the sacrifice. Jordan yelling at you all day, and and you getting beat up in practice, and you're buying in, and everybody's buying in, and everybody's working hard. But to get to the point where you're getting close, but then you don't quite get over the hump. That's where you see the ultimate the pouring out of emotion. It just shows like. What you see come out of them especially in a difficult situation is what all the stuff that they poured into it to get to that point and to establish that identity and that culture of winning. And winning is hard. Like life is hard. like if you don't want anything and you don't have any goals, this life is easy. Playing basketball is easy, but if you want the ultimate prize or you want to achieve goals in life or in sports, it's hard. There's going to be some sacrifices.
So I'm gonna just piggyback up on Dre. Now, I was the recipient of a national championship team that won 30-0. So the one thing I can tell you is I didn't see any men crying from start to game one, all the way into the national championship to the last game of the season. The one thing I can tell you was I saw some grown men crying once we got to where we needed to go to win. And it's a whole bunch of emotions, right? Because when you come to practice, like Dre was saying, the sacrifices you put in, right? It's a goal that you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
Once that goal is reached, nobody can fulfill, what you felt. And that's what ends up coming out. So that's what it was for Mike and the rest of the major players in there. That's why you saw the tears. That's why you saw the hugging of the trophy. Because nobody knew how much, him or the team was putting into this championship team, this run.
Yeah.
It's Doug E.
Fresh.
Yeah.
What's up?
Down San Francisco, brother.
San Francisco.
But yeah.
Down San Francisco, Mr. Doug.
Let's get his audio on. Hold on. Hold on. I got him muted. Hold on.
Oh.
Yo. What's up, man? Yo.
Looks a little cloudy in San Fran.
It always is.
Yeah, definitely. We just doing the show. Talking about The Last Dance, and we were talking about the sacrifice and the commitment that you saw from these great athletes that had millions, that had bank, except for Pippen. Pippen was underpaid, but but how much it meant to him, to become a champion, and how much sacrifice and how emotional it was moving forward. But one of the things you want to get into is the rivalry, the Pistons and the Bulls, and I think a lot of people the way they lean towards Mike because they seen that organic growth of getting over the hump, like we seen the Pistons get over the Celtics, and then the Bulls get over the Pistons, and how tough and how much it meant. I'm gonna go on the record. Mike didn't want Isaiah on the Dream Team. I mean, they try to make it seem like it was a lot of other people, but Mike really didn't want Isaiah on
the key is he wasn't the only one. I think that's what came out of the documentary, that Mike wasn't the only one. And if you say, all right, well, he carried the biggest voice. Yeah. How about the coach? Yeah. Was Isaiah's coach, Chuck Daly. Yeah. I think if he ultimately wanted Isaiah to be on that team, I think Isaiah would have been on that team. So
do you think, or the players would have been like, look, they were like, look, Chuck.
Him or us?
Yeah, like if they were like Chuck Daly versus having Jordan on the marketing of the Dream Team, I think they would have went with Jordan, and they would let me coach because you putting together the Dream Team anyway. Like,
I saw an interview yesterday. They said John Sally said Mike actually didn't say nothing. It was kind of implied, but that Magic was the vocal one. Yeah. To keeping Isaiah off the team, I guess, basically saying that the harmony wouldn't be there with him. Said Magic was
my question is, would the harmony have been there? Like, how do we feel about that? If Isaiah, we know talent wise, we already know he belongs. Well, would the harmony have been there?
It's interesting they talk about harmony. Nothing was going to get in the way of them winning the gold medal.
I mean,
so I think what would have been the issue was it was more like, and when you watch the 30 for 30 or whatever the documentary of the Dream Team, those guys just bonded so well and just so much fun off the court. Like, playing cards, chopping it up every night, going out and, in the town and just being the toast of the town. They enjoyed that. They sucked it up and they enjoyed doing that together.
So, Dre,
perhaps Isaiah wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have affected much on the court. They would have won. But
so do you think the beers go down smoother when Isaiah's there? Or,
but here's the thing about
Doug, I saw you shake your head. So if the beers don't go down smooth, then that's probably why Isaiah wasn't there.
That's why
I agree. You figure you got Jordan, Pippen, Magic, and Bird. I mean, they like the four biggest names on the team who didn't want to play with the guy. You know what I'm saying? So,
and like Isaiah said, look. When they do when you look at the championships I got, and when they do the top 50 of all time, I'm up there by myself. So he was like, and and he said he played against all those cats. Yeah, and I think Isaiah really, I mean, Isaiah was a remarkable, likable guy, but Isaiah is a tough, short, from Chicago kid that, you know, like, I mean, you know, he knows when to smile and when, you know, when to get back in. But it was interesting to see because, and he put out a good point that I didn't even notice. He said when they beat the Celtics was walking off the court too.
Right.
He said Bird walked off the court, and Mikal was. I always remember Mikal slapping his hand, but Mikal was walking off the court, like, and he was like.
But like Zeke said, he actually grabbed Mikal.
Yeah.
And then Mikal, if he hadn't grabbed him, he wouldn't have stopped.
Like, yeah, and I remember that. I didn't know if that was after the game because you just have those things. I was always remember Mikal dapped him up, but he was actually, you know, walking, you know, off the court or whatever. But
and another little dynamic to that thing, like you said, Isaiah, Chicago cat, big city dude.
Right.
They always carry a little more of a like we know from where we from, you know, Philly guys, New York guys. This big city guys actually carry more of a chip. Like they got their confidence is always a little more. Like you know, they ain't afraid of nothing. We done been through everything. Where you figure Magic, Bird, Jordan, Pippen, Malone, all these country boys, man. Barkley, you know, they can't probably
even Jordan to an extent,
That's what I'm saying. These all country boys, man.
That's true.
Look, think about it. I don't know where Drexler was from, but I think most of these dudes they was country boys, man. Point. David Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, what we can't take out of the equation too is now Isaiah's from where?
Chi-Town.
Chicago.
Chi-Town. Whose city was it really?
Yeah.
It became my city, but it's his city on the court. But personality-wise, he not carrying Chicago's personality on his back.
Nah, not at all.
But Isaiah is always going to rub everybody the wrong way because he's going to have that bluntness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Soon, to your point though, like when you mentioned about the getting over the hump and how that just kind of resonates with people, and you know that era is in my soul because like I grew because that was like right in my wheelhouse of growing up in my formative years in the 90s or whatever. So you try to meet the mountain, you get knocked down, and you try to come out. Then finally you overcome, and that the drama of that, seeing that play out was great. So I think that has kind of made me the way I look at sports. Like that kind of has formed the way I look at sports and why. I was kind of like when free agency just kind of opened up and guys started going and putting teams together, it always rubbed me a certain kind of way, you know, because it's like, nah, that's really not how you're supposed to do it. It's like, no, you ride with your guys. I remember being pissed with a guy like Kevin Garnett leaving Minnesota, knowing he would have never won anything. Right. But I remember that was like one of the first times that really struck me like, nah, dude, you ride with your guys. Like ultimately, I know it's hard being in Minnesota, but maybe, you know, eventually you overcome. Now it's a totally different league now. And because of free agency, you probably can't have a Bulls team now. Because of free agency, because you know Pippen's going to leave for the money. Guys are going to be leaving for the money. So you cannot going to have that kind of dynasty. But I just think that getting over the hump, you know, the drama of that is still like the best thing in sports.
Oh, hey, we got some shout outs.
Oh, shout them out.
Got Miss Carol Buckley Steinberg.
Thanks for joining.
Down in H-Town. Cousin Omar Higgs. Teammate national champion joining in. Maurice Whitfield. Coach Roger Laseth. Coach on that national championship team. What's up, Coach? Michael Iron Mike Starks. Raymond Coles. Cousin Robert Farmer. Amy Haber. Mr. Steven Stewart, Coppin State Alumni Hall of Famer. He was on the show. What's up, brother? Jen Stewart. Terrence Dub Webster, West Virginia State alumni. Sean Harvey, West Virginia State alumni. Charles Byers, West Virginia State University alumni. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for joining.
Definitely, thanks for joining us. Another interesting.
Okay. Now I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned KG because I think he was actually the dude ushered in this era of, moving around. Because the thing was, remember, KG signed that 7-year deal, and when he signed it, it seemed amazing.
Yeah.
7 years, hundreds, whatever million. But what he didn't realize was for 7 years now, you stuck.
Yeah.
No matter who they go get or don't go get, you stuck. You can't go nowhere. You can't force their hand. You can't do nothing. And ultimately, if you notice, players are now signing 3-year deals and 2-year deals and 4-year, so they don't get stuck. They do have the leverage to say, well, if you don't sign, you don't go get some players, I'm out. Yeah. So we'll never see that again, like you said, Dre. We'll never see that again, ever.
And then everybody, and also the whole thing about the movement around, everybody talks about championships. Oh, you didn't win, you didn't get the title, you didn't get it. So it's like every day in this social media, Twitter universe, you talking about did you win, did you win, did you win? And then when players go make moves so they can win, then we're like, oh, well, you trying to win? Like you trying to win. But that's all y'all talk about is winning, whatever. Like I always like Dan Marino's not a great quarterback because he didn't win a Super Bowl. Like you you have great players, you just not in the championship situation. Like Mitch Richmond. I mean he's a classic example. Tremendous player out Sack Kings, but just really he got one on the Lakers bench like the 12th man when it was all said and done. But it's just interesting to see moving forward how the league is going to change and become with all these free agency moving around and doing different things. The other aspect I wanted to touch on was Jordan and his dealings with the press and media. And one of the things that was interesting, they talked about, he felt like the press was coming at him. And look, and we talk about errors and being able to play in the era. Man, if you can't take the press in 1998, Sunni Jennings got a talk show in 2020. Like, you know what I mean? So how do you level that ability? And there's pros and cons in every era. Like Jordan going down, the big thing about him going to Atlantic City down 1-0. That in this era, there's pictures and phones. Like somebody's going live at the crap table with I'm here live with Michael Jordan.
Crap table is Hennessy, is everything.
Like like all not. What do you think about the social media aspect and the pressures that could those players in these days and that back in day and age, all that went on? I ain't even going back to Doc. All that went on. How do they handle? You think they can handle their social media in 2020? Because it's a whole different universe. Do you think they could handle it?
Doug speaking. He's on mute.
Oh, sorry, Doug. How did I meet you?
Think about Doc having a kid by a reporter.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I'm saying? He got a kid that became a tennis star by a reporter that was covering the scene.
Yeah.
And they had a baby together. Think about that happening right now. LeBron James gets Taylor Rooks pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Just throw out a Kerry champion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dude, that would be like scandal everywhere.
Oh yeah.
While married, you know what I'm saying? How you let that down? Everything that went on with Doc and his wife with I don't know if that's rumor or fact. With Teddy Pendergrass and all that other stuff.
It's just all rumor and hearsay. Yeah.
But you got to deal with that. So right, imagine LeBron James' wife Savannah James in car accident with Usher. Such and such. Man, that would be a mess right now, man. That would be a mess. So they got to do a lot of stuff back then that because of the fact that they didn't have to deal with, and actually the reporters weren't trying to break the story so they could get their own show on ESPN or Fox. They was actually covering up with these guys. Well, I know he's a good dude, so he treats me good, so I'm not gonna report that. That's personal.
Yeah.
And nowadays they breaking that on their Twitter account as soon as it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They trying to get on TV.
I think being the nature of a man that there was back then, I think it would have been a lot of fights. Because it was an era then where you just
cocaine circus.
Yeah.
You just can't say what you want to me away from me. So once I see you, that mean it's on. Mm-hmm. That goes for a reporter. That goes for other athlete. That goes for everybody. That was just the type of man that was there. It would have been something like, okay, You said last week in the report that I did what I did. Why are you saying it again? So if you write it again, this is what I'm gonna do to you.
On site.
That's what type of party it was, and I think I don't think that there's nobody who wants to keep getting smacked or punched in the face every time you see me on site. So that's just that was the mentality of the athlete then. I mean, listen, think about the guys that were out back then. You had the Charles Oakleys, you had the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. Like, you're not gonna keep saying things about them. They trying to find out the names of these people. So the minute that you come in a locker room trying to get certain questions, how nice you gonna think they are? They trying to find you,
Yeah.
So that's the difference that I think it would have been. Now, do I think it'll still been a lot of controversy? Of course, because it's the media, but probably been a little bit different. Barkley said he had to sit 50,000 aside for anybody who wanted to decide they wanted to get into some type of altercation with him. So, it's what it was.
So I just think Jordan, with the media circus surrounding Jordan, helped the Jordan brand.
Yeah.
It helped the NBA. It allowed the NBA to grow exponentially. So Jordan was pretty savvy with the media, and I think part of me tells me he knew how to work the media enough for his purposes.
Oh, hold on. Hold on.
It became draining for him.
Yeah.
But he knew that was the nature of the beast. In order to be Michael Jordan and to grow, to have this platform, I'm this in this greatness. It comes with a certain amount of sacrifice of your freedom. You're going to be, your moves are going to be scrutinized. I think he would have adapted for today. Like, it would have been hard, but he would have adapted because he would have had to. I mean, you're talking about now you have even this major platform now with all social media. He would have had somebody running his social media account because he probably wouldn't trusted himself to do it.
Yeah.
Nike would have had somebody around him to help him navigate this whole thing. And I think he would have just adapted to it and quite frankly embraced it, man. Like, Jordan liked the accolades. He liked to be, especially when the getting was good. I mean, I think, it's not this whole, it's tough being Jordan, but it wasn't this all woe is me.
Yeah.
He embraced it. He had that great smile for the camera all the time. I mean, he embraced it.
I mean, he had the cachet. When he had his first kid, he asked him, he said, look, him and Juanita are married. Don't put that in the paper. Would you not mention that or whatever? And they didn't mention it.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to touch that. What episode is that?
So they never and the people, they never printed it because I've seen it before. Like they never put it in there. He's like, okay, it's fine. But I think definitely with Jordan. But I think it's more in just the media. It's more that a million people have a phone that can record you. Like, it's like when you like if you leaving someplace, a speakeasy at 3:00 in the morning, I'm on the street. I say, oh wow, there's Mike. Click. Yo, that's Mike Jordan. It's 3:00 in the morning.
Like, you don't go rolling up the AC with your pop and a couple family members. You got a squad, and you got some people insulating you from that stuff, or you got a squad telling you like, nah, that's not a good look. We're not doing that tonight.
I mean, that was the interesting part.
And you got to figure too, nowadays casinos around the corner, so it wouldn't have been nothing.
You had to go nowhere.
Yeah, like he was like, everybody got a casino now. Like he's like, you just, or shoot, you can gamble online, but I don't know if his hands like
that wouldn't have did it for him.
Yeah, he needed to be out there.
He needed to see.
Yeah, and feel. He needed to be in the midst of the game, of the play.
Right.
Moving forward. The other thing they talk about, Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen in this documentary. Is Scottie Pippen hasn't gotten his due throughout the years, on how great a player he was and how important he was to the Bulls dynasty. Not to say Mike's record without Scottie Pippen in the playoffs or whatever it was, moving forward. Do you think Scottie Pippen, through the documentary, has gotten some more light on how great a player he was? Barring not going back in the game, but
I think people that grew up in that era, they knew the value of Scottie Pippen. I think they know that there's no 6 championships without Pippen. He's the ultimate Robin. He was a fill up the stat sheet, the ultimate type of glue guy. The guy that you covet on any team, even now. So if you grew up in that era, you knew how important he was. If you didn't, that name probably doesn't resonate to you as much as he was just a second fiddle guy. But the people that grew up in the era knows it's good. I think I don't know is the documentary giving him just due so that people that didn't know about Scotty now they know. I hope so, but it's hard for me to see it through that lens because I grew up in the era. I knew you don't have to tell me how valuable Scotty was. Like right. I'm very familiar with how valuable and how important he was to that team. So I don't know if the documentary is doing him enough justice. I can't say whether it is or not. I would have to ask somebody who's looking at it from a lens that didn't know Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. Well, I think is if you had a chance to live through it like we did, then we're not the guys that you want to give 50 questions to. However, I can say this, and you guys can chime in. He himself was one of the most versatile, if not the most versatile ever to play the game. So with that being said, I don't think anybody has to come up with things to try to make to try to make him feel like he's valued just by saying that alone. I mean, you look at statistics, you're talking about defense, rebounding, free throws, and 3 points. So, I mean, and, he's filling up everything. So there are not a lot of players that could fill up every stat sheet. Yeah. And some of the stats that he filled up, some dudes do that and they feel like they had the best game of their life. Well, how about he was doing this night in, night out, filling these stats? You know what I'm saying? So for them for anybody to say that things would have kept moving the way they would have without him, I think that they missing a boat. He was just that good of a all-around player that we've seen. I can't compare another guy to him that scores and not so much scores, but just does everything in every.
It's like LeBron.
Yeah.
Like LeBron's more like Pippen Magic.
Right. So we can't. I don't think that it takes anything away, but to the people who never saw it, I think they got some homework to do and they need to talk to some people. But as far as us, then I think his place is marked in history.
I think the biggest compliment from Pippen is that Detroit said that they wasn't worried about Chicago until he started being more aggressive. Like they knew that Mike couldn't beat him by himself.
Yeah.
And so we just gonna take out Mike and forget everybody else. And then once he started being aggressive and getting his, then that's when we ain't got nothing for these guys. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest compliment to me that I see from Pippen that come from them guys.
Yeah, and I think and that year that Mike left, the Bulls had a better record the previous year. And they made their one, maybe Scotty's one, who was it? Hugh Hollins, who made that terrible call against the Knicks on that foul on Hubert Davis. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They may, that may change history or opinion if they move on and knock the Knicks out and go to the finals. It may change everything. The other topic that was big on the thing and got a lot of heat was outspokenness and political things from Jordan. Commenting, not commenting. Republicans buy sneakers too on the bus. The Senate race in North Carolina. What do you guys think about that? It wasn't him. It wasn't Jordan. Do you think the heat he gets from that is legit, or it's just people just nitpicking? Because nobody's perfect. I mean, everybody's not socially conscious, as we can say.
I think the heat that he gets is legit from the standpoint that when you are on this huge platform, people are going, for right or wrong, they're going to expect certain things from you. So it just, again, it comes with that scrutiny. It comes with the territory, and people, they're going to speak about it, whether they're entitled to speak about it or not. They're going to have a judgment either way, whether they deserve to or not, because now you're out there for fodder. You're fodder for everybody. Every action, every non-action, every move is fodder for everybody because of the platform you're on. That's just the way it is. From me personally, I don't. I always look at guys. I always look at players like this. He's just a basketball player.
Yeah.
He's not a relative of mine. He's not my kid's school teacher. It's when Allen Iverson had his thing and you know all this judgment about Iverson and the questionable behavior and all that, I'm like, I can find, I'm in good conscience. I can go root for Allen Iverson in good conscience and not worry about that he's just doing whatever. He's not the most the cleanest guy off the court. I can do that. I can separate it. I can do it in good conscience.
A lot of things have become that way.
So Jordan, from my money, like Jordan, speaking out politically, it would be great if he would. It would do wonders for, I think, given his platform, it would do wonders for a lot of people that don't have a voice. That would be great. It would be great if he does. Does he have to? For my money, no, he doesn't. That's not my expectation of athletes. That's not necessarily on that wasn't on brand for him. And so he stayed. If you ask me, kind of stayed true to himself. And so I got to give him some credit for that. So my expectations of athletes, I don't hold them to that standard. So it didn't bother me one way or the other.
For me, like Dre, like you spoke about, it's I think people create this type of person that he is, because I think that Mike was just a great basketball player, right? I've known a few people in my lifetime that were able to be in his presence, and that's what they said about him. They didn't get into any deep conversations about this person that was a guy that said he was going to do something and then he backed out of it, or he portrayed to be somebody he wasn't. He was just a phenomenal basketball player. So with that being said, it's like we as human beings, we would like for people of his stature to do more. Well, how about he's just a guy that likes sitting on the couch and like flipping his remote and counting how many sneakers that he sells. So I'm not going to get into that, the person, but I can say this. There was a part in the video where I forget it was, had to do with politics, obviously. And the guy that was in the state of North Carolina was running, and
Jesse Helms. Yeah, another guy. Yeah.
And his counterpart was white. He was trying to get to Michael Jordan in support. So I understood, but then I heard Mike speak, and Mike was like, you know what? I'm not going to get out here and speak because I don't even know this guy, right? So if you think about that, right, just think about it. I don't know a person, right, but they want to use my status to get them over the top. And how about this person right here is in trouble for whatever, or can get in trouble for whatever, embezzlement. We just named a whole bunch of things they could get into. So now I put myself out there because I don't need you. You need me more than I need you. And if you're trying to help somebody, it will be great because you're down for the cause. But I don't know you. You're asking about for my support, and I don't even know the human being that you are. You actually could be a terrible human being under your politics. So he didn't want to touch that, and I understood. But then he said, I'm not going to go speak. I'll give a donation. I don't have a problem with that, you know. But as we move on and we talked about the status of people, I think that you get yourself into places because of the person that he was on a superstar status. And we look at the people who came before him, right? The Muhammad Ali's, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's. We know what they did. And now LeBron James. We know what they did. They kind of used their platform. So we automatically think that he's supposed to do this because of the ones that came before him. So whether he does or not, I'm fine with it because sometimes when you try to get into things that people should have said, collectively, you probably need to look at yourself sometimes as opposed to somebody wanting to speak out on a lot of things, right? And that's just how I felt about the thing. Could he have said some things about some issues? Yeah. Do I look for him to spearhead some type of movements? Of course not, because he's quiet. And if you think about this also, do we really know how much he contributed to anybody? Do we? I know I don't. Just because it wasn't on, major news, then I'm not going to say that he's a bad person just for not. I don't know what the man is doing. So, I'm going to leave that, where it is.
Yeah, I think I don't have a problem with him not speaking because for one, what if he speaks out and you don't like what he says?
Yeah.
He says something stupid, embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know what you're talking about, then you shouldn't speak on it. I think it's the reason why there's only one Muhammad Ali and there's, Jim Brown and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Bill Russell. Bill Russell was
right. That was a different time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a political time, right? And I mean, an activist time, right, with the Black Panthers and all that type of stuff. But I just think that if you want to speak, that's cool. Like Dre said, you can speak. But if you don't want to speak or you don't feel like, I'm educated on the topic, then, I don't think, like I said, I don't think you really owe it to anyone. You know what I mean? But again, like LeBron James, he doesn't have to speak.
Right.
I figure every time he speaks out, he's risking his brand, right? But he still does it, so we applaud him for it. But everything that LeBron says isn't, 100% right or 100% right on, but we still applaud the fact that he actually says something, and mostly because for years so many people didn't say anything. So the fact that he actually says something, people applaud it. But, like with Michael Jordan, again, like I said, I don't think he needed to speak out. And then, again, like you said, the media scrutiny part, where they said the part where Republicans buy shoes too. Now he said that in jest, joking, but it was taken and made as not taken, like he said it, and that's what he meant. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. We wasn't there when he said it, but that's how it was reported. And that's how today when you say something on Twitter or whatever, the context is never really taken into taking a fact, taken into account. It's just basically whatever those words said, that's what it meant. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you need to speak out. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like I said, if somebody speaks out, whether it's a ball player, a rapper, whoever, I want them to be educated about it.
Yeah, and the people have their own opinion. I think what happens is when you come in from that era, when you follow, Ali and Kareem and everybody who, want to, and Kareem said, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said he chose commerce over conscience. The things that you have to look at in anybody who's marketing anything or selling anything or whatever restaurant you open up or whatever you're doing, you become apolitical. Like you may make your donations known who I'm donating to, but a lot of times people just try to stay out of politics and try to stay stay at those things. But do you feel because he was the biggest figure on the planet and African American, and the African American narrative has kind of always been that baton passing, like the next generation to the next generation. You have to keep this going. So your superstar African American athletes carry this burden where they have to speak out on things that are political and things that just might not be done. I'm not a activist person or personal. I just try to live the best life that I can have and support my charities and do those type of things. But that was
again, he may have been doing some stuff behind the scenes and doing some support that way, which whoever has been a part of political game, money matters too.
Yeah.
He could have been throwing some significant dollars behind. Maybe he's done that, and we just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he helped Spike out with the Malcolm X movie, getting that done. So you're never going to be you want to be the perfect person, but I think what happened with Jordan was who he followed in the era he came, and when he became such the biggest, star on the face of the earth, really with the Jordan brand, Nike brand, and MJ. A lot of people were looking towards him to be more outspoken and do things, and that's what comes with that fame and fortune. People say, "Yo, you got the platform." They're listen to you because you're Michael Jordan, and you may, being from North Carolina Tar, you may can flip something in this race. Some people may say, you know what, that guy Mike is pretty cool, but we will never, we'll never know. But I mean, like he said, he did give a donation to the other opponent that was running for the office. And I think that's what's going to be. I mean, there's no perfect people. So that's what's always going to be the thing on Mike. They're going to say, like, hey, he didn't speak up enough. He didn't say enough. He didn't do enough in the political arena. I think that's always going to be the part on him. But a lot of people say much is given, much is required. So when you look at that aspect.
Hey, think about this for 1 second, right? Floyd Mayweather is the greatest boxer. Not the greatest, one of the greatest. He's the greatest boxer.
In this era, yeah.
Right? 50-0.
We 49-0. That one fight don't count against somebody who never boxed.
But do we want him speaking on political issues?
Nah. No, they don't want Floyd saying anything.
I mean, he's the richest boxer.
Yeah.
Known to man. You know what I mean? Do we want him? Why, you know what I'm saying? Because but that's what my thing is like. It's almost like, well, we made you.
But I think they feel. I think they feel Floyd is more of not on the same era as Mike has this general cachet because his crossover appeal of basketball around the world. Mm-hmm. They felt
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But it's almost a thing like with Mike, and same thing with LeBron. Like, kind of like, well, we made you.
Yeah.
So you have an obligation to do this. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's how it feels to me. It's almost like that.
I just think it's just the peer pressure. If when you're in a certain arena as an African American, that there's an expectation of you. There's an expectation of you to be on point, and especially if you're in a financial situation where they say realistically, they could dent you, but it's not going to break you if you said something. So the guy who's working, check to check really can't say anything because he got to keep his job. So there's that expectations that are thrown on you, fairly or unfairly, that we expect you to take a stand on pretty things that are like easily 100.
And last but not least, I'm gonna just throw this in. We're in a society where people really do think that you owe them something.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're in that society. It's like, some people will say you should speak on certain things, Mike, because people bought your shoes. I didn't tell you to buy my shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So because of that, you want me to feel some type of obligation to say something like I owe you something for you purchasing my shoes. You could have bought somebody else's shoes if you wanted to. So don't feel like just because you purchased my shoes, I have to say something. Like and that's just the everybody's not like that, but a lot of people are. If you really think like you owe somebody something, that's no different than the guy who gets rich and you bought him lunch one day. So at the job, so he feels like, okay, I bought you lunch one day, you owe me. Like, I don't owe you anything. You know what I'm saying? I just don't owe you anything. But people feel that way. You know what I mean?
You figure, check this out. People on their level, I love having the debate when people, when they talk about athletes and entertainers and things like that, because people think that it don't apply to them because they not uber rich or whatever, like the athlete or the entertainer. But on their scale, they have opportunities to do the same things. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's locally in their city, you might not have made it to the NBA, but in your city, you was a big star. You know what I'm saying? But these people are people that want everybody else to speak up about everything, but they'll never speak up about anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk to people at your community center. You can talk to people at your church. You can talk to people, influencing your family, young men in your family. Right. You can talk to them.
I give it to you like this. I'm from Chester. Chester's a huge basketball town, right? So you figure the people that most people look up to, basketball players, when things happen, who's leading? When the public stands up or whatever, the majority of the time, it's like a pastor or something like that leading whatever's going on. It's never that, that most popular basketball player at the time, or the basketball coach, or, just this figure that's not a political person, but I'm gonna stand up to do this thing because I'm a leader, which would tell me that if you were in a LeBron James position or a Michael Jordan position, it's just that type of thing is in you. Either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. Whether you got money or you don't got money, you're either gonna do it and don't worry about the scrutiny or the blowback that's gonna come with it because you for it. You know what I mean? So it don't matter what level you're on, you're gonna do it. Whether it's at your job, whether it's at your, if you school teacher, Duke, you know what I mean? Dre, y'all deal with school kids. Sunni, you the IT guy, you know what I mean? So whether you got to stand up for the workers, that the people that's under you at your job, that's something that you don't have to do. All you have to do is go to work and get paid and go home to your family. But if you see something being done wrong, maybe people getting laid off, maybe people getting treated the wrong way, whether you stand up and speak on their behalf is up to you. You know what I'm saying? Now, people might say, well, he need to say something because he the boss and he make the most money, but you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? And that type of thing is ingrained in you. That's the type of person you are. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, they would have been those same people, whether they were able to run a football, shoot a basketball, or knock somebody out. And that's the part people don't understand. Michael Jordan was just a basketball player, a competitive person that just wanted to win at every single thing. You know what I mean? And to me, that's all it is. And I think sometimes LeBron James does let peer pressure back him into a corner where he says something. Now, maybe that's what he wanted to do, but he didn't always do that when he first came into the league. He wasn't just outspoken. But when he got on this pedestal, when they put him up, he's the face of the league. Now all of a sudden he's speaking out. And don't get me wrong, I like that he speaks out and speaks his mind. But would he be doing this if he was, Jared Dudley? You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the NBA and sports in general, you have more guys that aren't the star players that actually speak out. It's not just the star player. Now everybody has a voice with social media and things like that. And it's just down to the person that you are, whether you want to do it or not. Everybody couldn't be Colin Kaepernick. You know what I'm saying? That's just the guy that he was willing to take that on his shoulders. Eric Reed next to him. Now, whether you agree or disagree with what they did or how they did it, you know what I'm saying? You have to at least give them credit for
doing something,
taking that stand and doing it. You know what I mean? And everybody's not built like that. And just because you're the best player on the court or on the field or whatever, if you're not built like that, then it's not you. That's just at the end of the day, that's just not you.
Yeah, I always said. Because I always said I had great players that I played with, but I wouldn't let them hold my car keys. You know what I mean? The situation, it's just situations for situations. You know, it was just that's how it breaks down. But I think it's something that people kind of will always get at Jordan at. Aside from the basketball player, he's a great basketball player. We kind of uplift and we kind of build down. We like to see that thing in flames a little bit. Like like I always say, you don't get a big crowd around the construction of a skyscraper, but let that thing catch on fire after it's burnt, after it's built. That's when you get news cameras, everybody's in, everybody's around because that's more spectacular than the actual construction of something, the actual destruction of it. And I think that's what a lot of things that came with Jordan. But the other thing, the Steve Kerr fight, was Jordan just off the rails with the Kerr incident? It just seems interesting to me. Like, to be that ultra competitive. What do you guys think? Because it seems like you all on the same squad. Like, the Kerr thing. Now Horace Grant can't eat. It just, I don't know. It just seems like extra to me. Like how, it just seems like
looking at Mike. I get the alpha male, but we got to come up with another name for Mike. With the alpha male is like an understatement for him.
They called him the alpha.
Yeah, he's the alpha, and it could have been some energy he didn't like, man, because he wasn't a guy that didn't mess with like effort. He just didn't do it, And who knows? Listen, you could have. He's so competitive if he lost because he didn't like losing to anything. Maybe there was a card game the night before. I don't know. And Steve caught the brunt of it. But, it was something that was there that ticked him off. Now, what I can say is this is the part that I love because it tells you a lot about Phil. Phil kicked him out of practice. That part I love, because when you do that, let's be real. Now, would Mike get kicked out of practice for like 2 or 3 days? No, but I got to throw you out right now, and you got to start fresh tomorrow. So it's some accountability there for players. When you can throw the superstar out, there's something there.
Yeah.
So who knows what happened?
Yeah, it was just shocking to me because you're all on the same page. Like I can see scuffle and things getting heated. But him and
well, come on now. I mean, you're a family, and you spend so much time around one another. You start there's going to be some disagreements. There could be there's some perhaps some carryover, something else, some resentment, something else like men.
You think Kerr hollered at Juanita? I mean,
I don't know. Kerr ain't crazy, but it could have been some sort of resentment. So I'm not surprised in that type of environment that things get escalate to a point. You spend so much time with one another. You have some resentments there because you're human, or you know what, I'm just not having a good day, and you know what, if I come in here and somebody say the wrong thing, it's going to be more, and so we're all human. So I'm not surprised at all, but Jordan was a bit of an a-hole. That's no surprise. We knew that before this documentary. This documentary has just further confirmed it. So I don't I don't think Jordan is shying away. To his credit, I don't think he's shying away from that aspect of his personality in this documentary. Is he revealing everything to us? No, he's not.
I hope not.
He's not. And he has a certain amount of control. His people are somewhat controlling the production and all that. And that's fine. Look, I'm here for whatever they're willing to give me. I can look up. There's so much information out there. If I want more information about it, I can go look it up and tie up any loose ends that I want to tie up. I'm right now just in here just for the enjoyment of it, and and I'm here for whatever they're willing to give me, and just kind of relive, an exciting time. So.
Well, it was funny. Dave said Mike ain't put hands on Charles Oakley.
No.
Hey, do we know anybody that did that?
Yo, Charles Oakley was the ultimate bully. I still want to know. I still need Tyrone Hill to at least be a man and get. And they need to square off or something, because the way he bullied Tyrone Hill back in those Raptors Sixer days, that just was not even fair.
So not true story. So a few weeks ago, I had a chance to speak with some friends of mine. I had a chance to speak with Alvin Williams from the Toronto
Villanova
guy. And I'm gonna let him tell it himself. I'm gonna just put this out there. It was must-see TV.
Yeah.
Having an experience with Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have him on the show, and I'm gonna let him tell you himself. But let me tell you, when you talk about the ultimate Debo, 6'9", 240.
Hampton, right?
Virginia Union.
Virginia Union, okay.
Yeah, there was some things that was going on there that I think that nobody wanted no work. and the toughest guy, when he approached the toughest guy looked at his shoes. So that'll tell you how he was operating.
Wow.
But I'm gonna let him share it. Look, even if he's allowed, because I don't want Oakley knocking on my door.
Yeah, right. Don't get him in trouble.
Yeah, like,
guys, I'm gonna have to cut out.
All right, man.
Something. It's been real. Good seeing you guys.
Definitely.
All right.
Catch you next time. Be safe out there.
All right, you too.
All right, peace. Yeah, and we was the thing about the interesting part with Mike and the ultra hyper alphaness, it was like they were still able to hold the team together. I guess they built the right kind of guys around that team, even the influences of Dennis Rodman, to be able to work with Dennis when Dennis needed to take a vacation in the middle of the season. But that goes to show the flexibility and the culture they had. Like, okay, that's Dennis. Dennis needs a vacation. Okay, Dennis, go take a vacation. But it doesn't hurt the team, the team, the framework of the team, because they had built that culture there. And it was,
so I think that's the beauty of Phil Jackson, though, that people don't give him enough credit for. I think when one thing at the end of the day, when you look back, when they talk about LeBron and Kobe and Michael Jordan and Bill Russell and all of those guys, LeBron would by far have the bottom of the barrel of the coaches that's on that. On that total. You understand what I'm saying? Like you said, Phil Jack. You think a coach ever threw LeBron out of practice? I mean, not that he ever did anything like that, but Phil Jackson to say to come and give Michael Jordan, not even to just dismiss Robin saying he needed vacation, but just to go get Jordan and say, look, man, we can't give you a 2-week vacation, but we can give you 48 hours.
Yeah,
man, that's cool. Even though he took longer, but just the fact to entertain it, to know that, man, we need this guy. You know what I mean? He just put in some work for us. He could have just left. You know what I'm saying? But he came to me to make this happen. So I just think, man, Phil Jackson coaching in the pros and college and is more than just X's and O's. It's a lot of managing the people that goes along with it. And I think sometimes when you see guys fail, it's because they can't handle that aspect of it. You know what I mean? And just managing people and
it's more
realizing realizing some things are more important than practice, and some things are more important than, you know what I mean? These guys are robots. They have their own mental makeup, you know what I'm saying? And they just need what they need so they can perform at their best. And I applaud Phil Jackson for that, honestly.
Yeah, and do you think
he in terms of this Phil's coming on the mental aspect side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because his approach was from there, I think later became easier for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was coming from a mental. And sometimes coaches come from the opposite. They want to get up in your face, they want to holler, they want to do this. Well, guess what? Nowadays, if that's your approach, you can run guys off just because you got a different type of player now, you know?
Yeah.
And we've seen that in Philadelphia when Chip Kelly came, you know? It was like, this is how it's going to be. I don't care. You know, we got to have it like this. Next thing you know, the players conspired to go to the owner to tell him this coach is not doing things right.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any player that'll do that if you come from a mental aspect side of things. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was one of Phil's biggest things, and because he came from a mental side of things, he was able to grab the Rodmans, grab the Jordans, you know, and get them together. And because you can't deal with a Rodman just like you dealing with a Pippen, you know.
Yeah.
You got to deal with these guys differently.
Yeah,
like, and I'll say plenty of times, and this goes for, you know, we've all played ball and had our experience in ball, but everybody is not going to drink Old English, you know. Everybody's not going to drink Ciroc. Everybody's not going to drink wine, but it helps to have, you know, somebody around who understands somebody who drinks Old English, who drinks wine, and who drinks beer. And I think that's where Phil came in. You know how to manage that.
Yeah, I think one of his probably puts the lights on Phil, and it was interesting because Mike wasn't a big Phil fan at first because Doug Collins was like, "Look, we gotta get the ball to Mike. The heck with all this." Doug was like,
a lot of people don't know Mike averaged 37 in the second year, man.
Yeah. You know, Doug Collins was a plan. It's like, look, Mike gonna take these shots, and that's y'all gonna rebound, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, that's gonna be it.
But Phil was like, look, we need to pass the ball around again, and then you know they developed and became a team and went on to win championships. But that was interesting, a big call to you go to the conference finals and fire your coach. Woo, that's a big move.
I've read the Jordan Rules years ago, the book, and people that are Jordan fans that are liking this documentary, they probably want to go read that book, and it'll fill in a lot of the gaps. You know what I'm saying? That's missing. You know what I mean? Like my one man was talking about Craig Hodges' conversation. It details what happened with Craig Hodges as far as you know, Mike one time berated him talking about he couldn't hit his shot because he don't eat pork or something like that. Something easy like that. You know what I mean? And him taking Horace Grant's food on the plane, just different stuff. You know, we're hearing things in these guys' own words, but this was you know, if you read that book, and like one thing about Doug Collins, one story that stood out to me was they played Detroit before like Christmas or something, and they got blown out. And you know, remember they had just took them. You know, this was the team they had to beat or whatever. So they went to Detroit, and and Doug Collins told them, you know, after the game, you know, go away, go home, Christmas or whatever, come back ready to play. And they got blown out so bad that he put on the board, practice tomorrow, 10 a.m. And he said, so you know, they all was pissed. So he said they get to the runway. Now they in Detroit. Practice would be in Chicago. It's probably zero degrees, right? So they get to the plane, and Jordan show up in a pair of shorts and like a Hawaiian shirt or something like that. And then Doug Collins informed the team, "Hey man, no practice tomorrow." So you think Mike went and had some words with Doug, or whatever? And you know, so that was part of the reason why not only not getting over the hump, but hey, you're not really coaching the team. And then, like you said, they had already brought Phil in to be on the coaching staff to learn from Tex and kind of take over. But so, you know, it was like a lot of stories like that where Doug Collins was, you know, like most coaches do, they coach the superstar differently. You know
yeah.
And so those type of things going on. And I think that's part of the reason why Phil being there, seeing all of that, was part of the reason why he knew, okay, he didn't punch Kerr in the chest or punch him in the face. I got to kick him out of practice. Because if I don't, you know what I'm saying, you know, where is that going to leave us at?
Yeah, that's going the residuals of that is going to be even worse. Like, you know,
because you just giving this guy a license to put his hands on any of us.
And then and everybody on that team is not, you know, even though they know Mike's the money man, whatever, but if some people it's just crazy. You know what I mean? So, like they say, Bill Cartwright told him, "You're not gonna talk to me like that. I'll break the leg." Like, you know, like some guys is like, the bull Doug, what's his name? I think Longley.
Luke
The
Longley.
he got no, I'm talking about the boy who played for Dallas. He got in a fight with Roger Staubach, got kicked off the team. He was the hero for Thanksgiving when they beat the Redskins when Roger was sick.
Oh, the quarterback.
The quarterback, yeah. And then they got into a practice, and I don't know what happened. You know, Rogers, but he put his hands on Roger. he was going out. But some people was like that. Like he's like, you know, some people was great. I don't care you Roger Staubach or not. You're not gonna talk. Yeah. You're not gonna talk to me any kind of way. Like, but I mean, that was it. His career was over. He never played nowhere else again. But he was like, look, I'm a man.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day. But yeah, that's the interesting part. Like when you trying to build and get over the hump, that balance you got to have to coach people. And some people, you know, like the Jordan rules, like you have to have that ability to fine tune it and work with individuals. And I think the great thing about the thing is just seeing a part of a championship team and the ups and downs and how you put together and how to get that group to win a championship and how bad they wanted to win it. I think that's been the great part of this, just on the insight to Jordan.
But I'm going to tell you the one thing that I was not feeling, and it's these corporate guys. You know, the guy who feels that he can let somebody go or fire somebody or whatever and just go get somebody else.
Yeah.
That was it Reinsdorf?
Yeah.
Reinsdorf.
That was his attitude, and I did not like that because you gotta the thing that bothered me the most about that is you're an executive, right?
Yeah.
What then will put you over top of the players. So you're responsible for drafting everybody that's coming in here, and you're able to put that together, right?
Yep.
But somehow you feel like you're left out when you put it together. So I didn't like that because now it's a power thing. And then how do you tell the coach
he's not coming back,
who was responsible for winning 6 championships, that he's not coming back? You tell him that before the season starts.
Yeah. And no matter what you do, you're not
coming back.
You're not coming back. Like, who does that unless you are power tripping, you know?
Short man's complex.
Oh, my God. It's just terrible. Here's my thing. If everybody knows that I'm the billionaire and I sign the checks, how about you don't never have to see me? Because I sign everybody's checks. Why do you don't need to hear from me and you don't need to see me until it's time to start measuring rings for hardware and giving out trophies. That's when I'll pop up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to be the devil's advocate, you did something to put yourself in a position to buy that team and own it. You can run it any way you see fit.
Well, you know, my thing would be, I'm looking at what kind of product I got out there, and I'm looking at the end result. So the old school mentality is, and this is where we from. We from an era. Mike, Pippen, Phil, Jerry.
Oh, they all coming back.
Yeah.
How about this? We coming over to my house, and we gonna open up a bottle of whatever it got to be, and we got some cigars. I need y'all to get this thing all the way right. I don't know if that conversation ever happened, because I don't know if the owner ever told Reinsdorf that needs to happen. You see what I'm saying? Everything.
Well, Reinsdorf is the owner. Krause is the GM.
Yeah,
but Reinsdorf is on board with Krause.
Yeah.
You got to understand. As much as they hated Krause, he put all that together. He bought all them players in there.
Yeah.
So they were on board with, hey, man, these guys get no. We know Pippen's leaving. You know, we're going to start over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, now we would have done it differently.
Yeah.
We would have done it a lot differently, but being the devil's advocate, I can see where he's like, hey, man, we going to do it. Like, they wanted to blow it up the year before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, we'll bring it back for another run. And like I said, I wouldn't have done it. But, you know what I mean? he did it with the blessing of the owner. He didn't do it, you know what I mean, as like a rogue agent. I'm just not gonna sign these dudes. He did it with the blessing of the owner. The owner had to sign off to let Phil Jackson, the winningest coach, Michael Jordan, the great GOAT, you know what I mean, Scottie Pippen, his sidekick, leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had to do that.
To me, it's like this, and this is just me, and you know, I'm looking at the success, right?
Yeah.
You're ready to blow the success up and move on. Like, what about? Hold on, let's let somebody beat us first, and let's blow it up then. Because
the sports guys have repaid them in a plenty because they look like they had a team that was on the verge of the come up with Derrick Rose and those guys, and then Derrick Rose's knees somehow gave way on. Is that the new Chicago curse of Michael Jordan? Is that the new GOAT?
Yeah.
You know, the Chicago Cubs GOAT?
Yeah, Bambino. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, Chicago haven't been much of nothing since Jordan left, except say for them 2 or 3 years. And when it looked like, you know, they got the youngest MVP and, oh, man, these guys are about to do some damage.
Yeah.
And bang, done, gone.
And listen, if I haven't won a championship in 42 years, you think I'm not going to hold on to it forever?
I mean, even Tom Brady, the Patriots let Tom Brady leave, but they let him leave after a year where they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They might have wanted to blow it up 2 years ago, but they just won the Super Bowl. And they were just in the Super Bowl the year before that. So how can you blow it up when you losing in the last game of the year or when you're in the last game of the year?
Yeah.
And now in this past season, they weren't even close to the last game. So, okay, we're going to blow it up.
It's time to move on.
You know what I mean? At least I would have thought, you know, Chicago, we're going to keep doing these 1-year deals until
all day. All day.
Yeah. And they would have won that. They would have won the year after that too. Remember that was the 50 lockout season. The Knicks made it to the championship with the 8 seed.
Man.
But hey, through it all, I would have loved to have seen that Houston and Chicago series.
Yes, sir.
That'd have been good.
The one we missed.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing I didn't realize. I didn't realize that Chicago swept Orlando the second year.
Yeah, they beat them 4 straight. Yeah.
After they went to the finals, they got swept. I didn't realialize that.
Yeah, and Orlando kind of never
realized that.
Like Orlando kind of. That's when Shaq left. Shaq left after that.
He left after that.
Yeah, it was like he went to LA.
So why don't anybody ever talk about Shaq running away from Mike and
and he got
hey, Mike always dominates the conversation.
Then you know he's a big man. The big men get to go to LA. The Wilt, Kareem, all those guys. He was just
saying that. Yeah. That team was tailor made. There was no reason for Shaq to leave. Now he said they.
And then Penny got hurt. Penny got hurt after that or whatever.
Yeah, it was a few years later. But Shaq, they didn't pay Shaq what he wanted, so that's why he left.
Yeah, L.A. was calling definitely. But what I take from the last dance was, it takes a lot to win a championship, and you really have to have a solidified organization. You got to have the right players, and everybody played a role. And Jordan was always ride Jordan as the GOAT. The great, who said the GOAT? He's the great player, one of the great players. He came in for a new organization, the Bulls, that weren't anything, made him something, and has a long legacy. So that's definitely what it is. I think it's been very enjoyable looking to see the final episodes, to see how everything played out in Utah. The fever game, or was the hangover game? I don't know what everybody's saying.
Hey, it was something.
It was something. Definitely going to check that out. But fellas, it's been real, man. It's good to get back on the scene again. Sports Talk Live for the culture. I wanted to do this last dance episode. Definitely to check out. Everybody was talking about it. But we had an NFL draft, and we did all right. My boys did all right in that draft. We want to talk about that.
I don't know where it came from, but it was all right. It was all right.
Some things fell their way, and they made some nice moves.
We're gonna see. We got I like what we did too, and we in Dallas this year.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we have to put something together.
Y'all had to put something together.
I think that's the week. I think that's the week Brady and them in Tampa. The Saints and Brady in Tampa.
Oh wow!
Same week.
I think that's the same week.
And I'd rather go to AT&T.
Hey, listen, AT&T is on. What is it? Sunday. I know the Tampa game is Sunday night. It's whatever, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Cool.
Yeah, we gotta wait for the football gods to
see. Hopefully, have a season. Yeah.
Yeah. I like cleaning, shining my shoes with them terrible towels. Anyway.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now our conversation took another turn, dog.
Yo, but definitely, Sports Talk Live for the culture. It's been tremendous. We will get back to you next week. We'll be talking a little NFL draft. And they changed that pass interference rule, like I said. They got rid of it.
What they changed?
The passing. They're not going to review pass interference anymore. They're not going to video review. Like I said, video review is for something you can definitively see. Was his foot on the line? Was he out? Why would you review an opinion call? Because it's not going to change your opinion.
Right.
But we'll talk about that next week. Peace. We out. Sports Talk Live for the culture.
Peace. Thanks for joining.
Yep.